विस्तारवाद का युग समाप्त हो चुका है। ये युग विकासवाद का है।
Troubles began as early as 2013 when China expanded its Belt and Road Initiative. Massive construction projects in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and the Maldives caused unease in Delhi.
If you ask me, is our relationship normal today? My answer to you is no, it is not.
China is clearly becoming a much stronger military power.
India has also stepped up its participation in the Quad, which is a group of 4 countries, including the US, Australia, and Japan.
Hi everybody, in the past 3 episodes of the geopolitical series, we saw how China started with something called the Belt and Road Initiative to conquer the world trade. Now just to give you a quick recap, firstly, China strategically used Djibouti, Sri Lanka, Myanmar and Pakistan's weak economic situation to surround India. Secondly, China spent billions of dollars into building oil refineries, high-speed cables, railway lines and even gas pipelines to build an alternate trade route around India. And lastly, China is building an extremely strategic railway line from London to China and another railway line from China to Iran, passing through Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, finally ending at Tehran in Iran. This is how China is literally building its own trade route to become an economic superpower, and in this process, China intends to surround its rivals like India and eventually gain military and economic advantage over the United States. This is what we have covered until now. Now, when China is doing so many things, India is obviously not a saint to keep quiet and let China become stronger, right? So the question over here is, what exactly is India doing to tackle the security implications of the Belt and Road Initiative? What is India's strategy to face China in case of a military conflict? And lastly, what are the study materials to help you understand India's geopolitical moves better? This video is brought to you by Wintwealth, but more on this at the end of the video. The answer to this lies in a very important quote by a historian named Alfred Thayer. In his theory of sea dominance, Alfred Thayer said that whoever conquers the Indian Ocean will dominate the whole of Asia. So let's try to understand why is the Indian Ocean so important in geopolitics. Well, if you look at the world map, you will see that the Indian Ocean region consists of 28 countries spanning across 3 continents and covers 17.5% of the global land area. These countries include 21 members of an association called the Indian Ocean Rim Association. This includes major nations like Australia, Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, Iran, Kenya, Malaysia, Oman, Singapore, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Thailand, UAE and Yemen. Then there are 7 others who are not a part of this association, which includes Brunei, Cambodia, Maldives, Myanmar, Pakistan, Timor-Leste and Vietnam. And this region is home to over 35% of the world's population, which is around 2.6 billion people. Now, if you notice something very peculiar about all these nations that I stated, you will realize that the Indian Ocean region is home to some of the fastest growing countries in the world. Secondly, it is one of the most strategic regions in the world, which falls at the crossroads of the global trade itself. The Indian Ocean connects the international economies in the North Atlantic to the Asia-Pacific region. And secondly, the major sea routes that connect the Middle East, Africa and East Asia with both Europe and America also lie in the Indian Ocean itself. And what is absolutely mind-boggling about the Indian Ocean is that 80% of the entire world's maritime oil trade flows through just 3 narrow passages of the Indian Ocean. These passages are at the Strait of Hormuz, Strait of Malacca and the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. These points are what we call as choke points, as in if you choke these points, the major part of the world trade itself will come to a standstill. If this is very clear to you, let's understand these choke points better. The Strait of Hormuz is a strait between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. The Strait of Malacca, as you know, is this place between the Malay Peninsula and the Indian Ocean island of Sumatra. The Bab el-Mandeb is a strait between Yemen on the Arabian Peninsula, Djibouti and Eritrea in the Horn of Africa. This strait connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Eden. And apart from these 3 choke points, we have 4 more, which are the Mozambique Channel, the Suez Canal, the Sunda Strait and the Lombok Strait. Now, if you remember from our previous episode, China has very clearly entered very close to all these choke points. To establish dominance over the Strait of Hormuz, China has the Gwadar port in Pakistan on a 40-year lease. and it also has its infrastructure and railway lines to Iran. To establish dominance over the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb and the Suez Canal, China has debt-trapped Djibouti to build its naval base. And then, to capitalize on the Strait of Malacca, Sunda Strait and the Lombok Strait, China has made strategic alliance with Indonesia to build its infrastructure projects. And if you go through the details of the Chinese relations very closely, you will see that China has already established very close relations with the Mozambique government and has established control over a port called the Dar es Salaam port in Tanzania. So in short, the world trade can be stopped within a jiffy if you have control over these choke points in the Indian Ocean. And at the same time, if you do not have control over these points, your enemy can block your trade in no time. And quite evidently, China has slowly extended its dominance over all these choke points. This is the reason why the Indian Ocean is an extremely crucial region with respect to maritime trade, and more importantly for India because of China. But the story does not end here. Apart from maritime trade routes, the Indian Ocean contains some of the most precious resources in the world. In fact, a large portion of the resources of the Indian Ocean is yet to be explored. And it is said that 16.8% of the entire world's reserves and 27.9% of natural gas reserves are in the Indian Ocean itself. And this is where the Indo-China conflict comes in.
The string of pearls theory very simply is that China is trying to encircle India with a number of naval bases in surrounding countries in such a way that it's like a string of pearls around your neck, which the Chinese can then tighten to choke you and choke your neck.
There is a Cold War that is created between India and China.
The string of pearls theory has been discussed for more than a decade, and the Ukraine crisis